Okay. Hello, everybody. Let's see if this is working. So, everybody, we're doing a live stream, so welcome back. So, today, we have a risk for severe weather. This is, sorry for the background noise, by the way. It's a little bit loud out there. But, we have this general marginal risk for severe weather. And then we just got this area of severe weather, just got out from the Storm Prediction Center. I literally just saw this. So, and there is a tornado threat with this. So, hail, wind, and tornadoes are possible with this severe weather setup. That's a little bit shocking but yeah, so now we are in this mode of severe weather, and this is generally going to be now and lasting throughout the night. So we can start to go into the weather radar. Here's your weather radar, and this is just not correct. This is just... We do have a special weather statement. And we do have supercells, actually. We do have supercells with some developing cells trying to become supercells. And they're trying to rotate. We have some heavy downpours, maybe some light hail. But in our special weather statement, we have a hail core. Well, what used to be a hail core. And it's a little area, but it's not really that concerning. This area is not really that concerning. It'd be somewhere over here where I would be concerned for at least severe weather-wise. But that's really it. More cells are expected to develop as this goes on, and we're probably going to get another special weather statement for potential for 40 mile per hour winds gusting. And there's a lot of moderate rain, so that's probably reaching some of that's probably reaching the surface. So yes, severe weather today. 2 new areas, once again, going to show you that. So yeah, 2 new areas. This is from now and later on today. And this is later on today into the night. This will be into just getting to the night, and this will be through the day and the night. So this threat is going to be in about 4 to 5 hours from now. Sorry, 5 to 6 hours. 5 to 6 hours from now. And this is from, now to 3 hours, probably. This green threat over here. And this does have a potential for some tornadoes. I did look at the environment. And it was definitely getting a bit more favorable. So we are watching for the potential for a tornadic threat. This is mainly a radar site that we're probably going to be using in the threat. Well, we can actually discussions. We can actually go to categorical, and we can actually see. So yeah, this is basically our only radar that's actually inside the severe weather threat. And then our next radar would have to be, it's a little bit of a radar hole. We need a 4 corners radar. That's what I need. We need a 4 corners radar. Some radar holes, but we're going to deal with them. And once again, graphically, here's your tornado risk, which is kind of for this green area. So, and every single storm in this area, and that will develop, does have a chance to produce all modes of severe weather, including tornadoes. So that is something to keep in mind. I don't want to put on watches. There is no mesoscale discussions, and as far as I know, there is no actual watches out. Let me make sure I do have alerts on, and all of our watches are on. Perfect. Watches are on. This is perfect. So we have no watches, no mesoscale discussions yet from the Storm Prediction Center. But things are starting to get a little bit more developy. cells that I'm watching right now, I'm only watching 2 cells. I'm watching this cell with the special weather statement, and I'm also watching this cell. These are the 2 cells that that are getting their act together. At least that's what I'm seeing. And then I'm gonna start to watch these cells. Now, I want you to look at the left side of your screen. Left side of your screen where the actual reflectivity is. So on the left side of your screen, you can see this little line right here. This little line right here. Down the middle. So on this side, it is reflectivity. This is basically the rain. How heavy the rain is, and hail and all that. This is what you generally see. This is what you see on any weather app, meteorologically, on your local news station. And on the right is your velocity. So this is the speed of the winds with the rain. So every raindrop the radar detects on the reflectivity, it spits out to here. And how fast was that rain moving? And how fast in what direction was the rain moving, and it spits out on the velocity. And with rain gusts, the wind gusts. It looks like we're getting some development behind it. That is okay. It seems like the environment is trying to do something. I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to be happening. I don't think anything really is going to... Yeah, no, nothing's really happening right now. Nothing concerning. Nothing concerning. I do want new radar scans, though, so hopefully... Okay, we did get a reflectivity radar scan. This sucked for this storm, but now I need a velocity scan. So hopefully we will get that. Okay, we did. I'm just going to keep making some circles for myself. It almost looks like the storm is trying to clear itself to take on inflow, but I'm not too sure about that yet. Also, this hail core on the storm, if you look on the left side of your screen, that hail core is kind of dying a little bit. Hail core is dying. I don't know why what are we doing here? It almost does look like the storm is trying to take on inflow. Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think these are going to be high-resolution supercells. We can look at classically vertically integrated liquid. Here's a vertically integrated liquid. This on the bottom left just shows us our hail size. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to see... Nope, that's just the wrong thing. Also the wrong thing. There we go. Yeah, we don't have that much longer of an updraft anymore. At least I believe. Yeah. But still a marginally strong storm, but not a severe storm, just a strong storm. You can see that our cell right here, if you look on the left side of your screen, kind of see the shape of that kind of bean shape. That sideways bean shape. That can be supercellularly related. Potentially, if you look at a loop of it, this is moving a tad too fast. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, definitely that bean shape a little bit. Something to watch, but it will undergo cell murders. And I think this is probably one of the things about today, is that most of these cells, at least for primarily this risk over here, is that these are mostly going to be cell murders, not really anything discrete. But obviously there is a discrete mode, like this cell right here. There is a discrete mode happening that we can see, but it's trying to come together, and obviously we have somewhat semi-discrete cells coming by, and then we have this kind of wallish of Mostly rain, not really thunder over here. Somewhat, maybe some thunder strikes. Almost guaranteed, but mostly a wall of rain. Okay, it looks like the radar is a little bit slow. And what I would want it to be, but it doesn't. We're still going to get an update. So this is what's happening now. This is the immediate threat for weather, severe weather. It does not look like there's any severe weather happening right now, although we do have this one strong storm. It looks like it might be on a weakening trend, and that might be the case for today. But I do think in between, maybe in between these, this and this, right here. If you look on your left side, right here in that little circle, that is where I think severe weather can happen. Especially if it tries to get in a better environment. So it may be a little bit till we actually get the severe weather window to open. I mean, I started the stream a little bit too early, but I'm not really doing anything right now, so, you know. If there were to be any severe weather right now, once again, there is all modes of severe weather on the table. But I would mostly be concerned about hail. That's really what I'm concerned about. Primarily hail. But there could be a spin-up tornado. There might be. It's possible. We're mostly talking about hailers here. Especially if you look at the storm tracks. This is another reason why I have them here. Is because these, talk about semi-discrete and non-discrete. These are going to be these cells are generally going to be running into one another. They're going to be running into one another. And that's just not going to help them produce a tornado. That's really what's going to happen. They're not going to be able to produce a tornado once they're undergoing a merger. But sometimes mergers can help them. Also, by the way, with the new radar scan, yeah, the hail signature is gone with this. So even though it says half-inch hail, they're probably not seeing half-inch hail anymore. Probably just some heavy downpours, more than likely ongoing, with a lot of lightning. And this heavy downpours is going to be going to the south of Munns Park, generally tracking towards Road 40, and then towards Leop, and that's really it. It's going to be going to the south of Sedona, south of Catcha Village, and primarily south of Flagstaff, Arizona. But yeah, we're getting more development. You can see right here some more development is happening. Once again, this window in between would be the most discrete mode, at least right now, since there's nothing, unless we get more storms to form near these cells, then it won't be as much discrete mode. We do have a cell up here that is showing maybe a hail signature, but it could be just some extremely heavy rain. Even though we are looking more up into the atmosphere, so that it probably is hail right there. Hail signature, but more than likely not reaching the surface. So there's not going to be a hail or a special weather statement or a severe weather warning on that. But we are looking out for, once again, this potential. You can look at the structure right here. The potential for a tornado At least for this storm, mostly just a hail threat, but potentially a tornado threat would exist just in Tonally Lake, and then going into second Mesa, first Mesa, Shangpovi, Jiddo, Arizona. That's what's happening there. Also, don't pay attention to the logos too much on the track. Like, this has a TVS signature, which means Tornado Vortex signature. Those can be relevant sometimes, but in this scenario, in this situation, should I say, I should probably say, the radar is right here. It's so close to the radar, and there's a lot of, you see these black spots? That's contamination. So this is probably contaminated, and the radar is programmed to see tornado vortex signatures, and it's kind of getting confused with that contamination. So that's not credible. That's not credible. There is no tornado vortex signature. The storm just thinks there is, but there's not. There is no rotation with this cell, as far as I can see. That could change in the future. Just like this, we have a rotating signature. Doubt it. Really doubt it. But sometimes, once again, in the right environment, well, not really environment, but in the right place of the cell, then sometimes the actual signatures can be relevant and actually mean something. But in this case, these two signatures right here, you can look on the left or right side of your screen, but these two signatures, the tornado vortex signature and the rotation signature, are at least right now not relevant because the radar is getting confused and because of the contamination. The radar is just, because the contamination is causing it's causing contamination side lobe rotation. It looks, because for an example, it looks like this is rotation right here. If you look on the left side of your right side of your screen, it looks like that's rotation. So it would put if there was a cell right here, a tornado signature, that would mean a tornado vortex signature. That's just contamination. The radar is just programmed to recognize that, which is good, and that once again can be relevant in the right situation, I guess, when there's visibly no contamination, then it's relevant. And our special weather statement was discontinued as the cell is slowly dying. It's turning into mostly just some rain, thunder, just a general thunderstorm with some moderate rain following with it. Maybe scattered heavy rain. And wow, look at all these cells develop. But nothing's really developing big. I mean, if I'm watching any cells, I'm watching this cell not because of the TVS, but because of the structure. And maybe this one, if you look on the left side of your screen, this one definitely still this one. So I'm looking at a lot of cells right now. This one it looks like it's just going to get rained out. Become completely cold pool and just get rained out. This one, I'm not seeing anything imminent. I'm not seeing really anything imminent with this. We actually can go up in tilts. We'll go up in tilts just to be sure, since there is some somewhat mountainy areas. I just want to make sure that there's actually nothing going on. So if we go up in tilts, this is what I'm talking about. So the storm is, if you look more up in the atmosphere, the storm is hailing, but that is definitely not reaching the surface. Yeah, looking up in tilts, I'm still seeing nothing with these cells. Okay, now, this cell is getting a little bit interesting. So we do have this. I mean, let me just circle. Okay, so that is a little bit weird. So this is up in tilts, so up a bit more up in the atmosphere, we have these two cells. And it looks like there may be some extremely broad rotation with the hook on this storm. So we're definitely watching this one. We're definitely Where is it? We're definitely watching this one over here. Now, if we go to the surface, if we go to near surface level, what would be surface level, there's probably not going to be as much of a concerning signature with them. Well, actually, there kind of still is. But yeah, up in the atmosphere, there definitely is something trying with these cells, so that could mean something. But as of right now, nothing too imminent, just very broad. But yeah, right now, what are we watching? We're watching, if you look on the left side of your screen, we're watching these cells. These cells are getting a little bit more interesting, at least in the potential for a tornado threat. A little bit more interesting. I still think the tornado threat with them is still low. At the surface, they're probably not going to last that long. Okay, we're actually going to go back to RadarOmega. Why am I going back to RadarOmega? I'm just trying to make sure there's no watches, make sure there's no watches. There is a special weather statement in the north. Hold on, I will go to that. There is a special weather statement up there. Do want to check that out. We're kind of a little bit in a radar hole. We're in a little bit of a radar hole. But we have some not even half-inch hail. And we have 15-mile-per-hour winds with it. I'm not really seeing anything rotating-wise, but this will be going in. This is a strong storm going just east of Dolores and just northwest of Mancos. Going towards Road 145. Going into areas like Norwood, Swapit. Those areas in Colorado. Those areas too. So we are watching this for, once again, we're going to go back to RadarOmega. This is part of our northerly mode. Actually, it's another SWS. So our northerly mode is also going to be kind of going off, if you will. There's another SWS for this, which also less than $half size hail and 50-mile-per-hour winds. Your threat over here is going to be hail and maybe a severe gust of wind, but mostly hail for this general area of the Four Corners. Okay, so we're going to go back down to, wow. The southeast of Phoenix, we have this cell right here that is probably nothing much. Yeah, probably just something like a thunderstorm. Nothing happening with this. No, I'm saying we do not have a severe risk right here. So this is just going to be general time thunderstorms happening. But literally to the north of it, there is an environment that can support potentially all modes of severe weather. Mostly talking about hail. Right, we have another TVS. I don't see anything spinning, so that might be just another contaminated tornado vortex signature. Yeah, I think the TVS is talking about this right here, which is not even part of the cell. This would be part of the cell. And yeah, there's no rotation. But if we do look before I bite my tongue, before I actually go through with that, I'm going to go to the second tilt to make sure that there is no rotation. And yeah, there is no rotation with this. So once again, that's another false, not really false, but a contaminated tornado vortex signature that once again is not something to, panic over anywhere along the track and in Winslow, because that is just a non-relevant TVS signature. But this storm still will have the potential for a tornado as it goes towards Winslow in Arizona and eventually Dickin and Seba Delkai in Arizona. Watching down here, once again, we're watching the cells down here. We're actually going to go back to, we're going to keep going up in tilts. So I do want to check on this threat. So if you remember, we were a little bit concerned, and that concern still persists. At least the structure on reflectivity still looks pretty good. Not as much rotation. Not really worried about anything. I'm not seeing anything even broad of rotation. Yeah, there may be some more broad rotation, but I doubt it. I significantly doubt it though. But once again, the good news is part of the problem of today's threat, is that these cells are going to be merging. They're going to be merging as they go on. They're already getting occluded. If there was going to be, if you look on the left side of your screen, there already is some sort of hook echo trying to form, but it is about to be occluded by rain, so that's about to be choked off. So the tornado threat for this cell probably will be choked off. It won't be totally choked off, but it'll be a little bit less favorable as the storms will merge, and there's another storm right behind it. If we try to go near the surface, it looks very babyish. But yeah, these will be occluded, and that'll be all she wrote, really. So the cells behind it will have the same exact threat to pose as these cells, with the potential for mainly hail and a gust of wind, and also a potential for a brief tornado still exists. Where does that exist? At least a tornado threat-wise, a tornado threat exists in 2 areas today. So we have one tornado threat, tornado threats today. And over here, this is later today. And this is right now in the next few hours, where we do have potential for tornadoes. So we are watching that. And any development. So we're going to go back to our special weather statements up here with our classic radar hole. And yeah, I mean, this is a little bit interesting. So I mean, there actually could be signs of maybe some rotation if you look on the right side of your screen. Potentially a rotating storm. Potentially. I probably should go up in height to try to see where the surface level is. And yet there definitely is some sort of signature. With that, we are actually going to go up one more tilt. One more tilt in the atmosphere. And yet there still is some sort of signature. I would not yet go through with the warning, though. I think it's a little bit too early to tell to go through with a warning yet. But potentially, if it continues to rotate, we may get a warning over there. Same thing can actually potentially go with the cell over here. But this one I have less confidence in, just looking at the structure of it. But yeah, but for the cells, once again, there is no tornado threat with this from the Storm Prediction Center. So a tornado over here is going to be less likely, and I still think that it probably won't be a tornado. But there is this little cell just east of Dolores that will might try to do something. Might. That's a key word here. Might. Do I have confidence in it? No. The more north this goes, the more horrible the environment will generally be. But it won't be that horrible. It will still support thunderstorms and probably some assortment of severe weather. But at least the tornadic part is definitely going to be long and gone. I'm going to stick on this just a little bit longer, at least, if there is nothing going on. Once again, here's a little bit of a open view of today's threat. We're going to go back to the general categorical risk of today. And there is only these two special weather statements going on. Nothing else going on with the United States. We do have some storms down here, producing some water spouts, actually. But the water spout threat is generally going to be south of the Keys and Key West. But there may be a scattered water spout, potentially. And a potential for tornadoes with these two green buddies. Once again, a tornado threat for at least this one is located somewhere over here. Everything north of... Actually, once again, we're going to pull up the tornado threat so you can actually see where it is. So everywhere, just Caneta, Manny Farms in Arizona and north does not have a tornado threat. But miles into the other state in New Mexico, there is another tornado threat for that severe weather setup. It actually looks like we may have some initiation actually going on near Santa Fe. So, I'm actually just going to go back to that. We actually may get a mesoscale discussion from that, actually. Let me see if there is. Where that Santa Fe. We're going to go to this buddy. And let me make sure this is just not windmills and stuff. So there is some things trying to go off 4 hours earlier, 4 or 5 hours early. So I doubt they're going to mature into anything. Anyways, going back to the special weather statements. Yeah, it looks like just going to be a windy one. Looks like this is probably just going to be a marginally windy one, and maybe with some accompanied by half inch hail or less. But man, there could be something over here. There could be something. I would still hold back on the warning though, because when you go up in tilts, since they're so far away from the radar, going up in tilts isn't really going to do anything. Really isn't going to be doing anything, but going away from the storm. But I mean, you still can't go up in tilts with the storm and see the structure, and they're definitely, when you go up in tilts, at least when you go up in tilts, there is something trying to do. There might be, and there probably is some weak rotation. Probably is, because it is a supercell, more than likely. And it's still not expected to form a tornado, though. But I would not be surprised if this does intensify and we do get that, and that warning does come through. This cell down here looks like crapola. Nothing really to see with it. Okay. Going back down here towards Flagstaff. Nothing. These cells aren't doing anything. They're just chilling, making some rain and thundery areas. I do have two cells right here that are growing. To watch these. And these two areas that we were talking about, they're colliding into each other. And that's going to continue. So the question is will this be a constructive storm merger, and it continues as a big storm until it crashes into more rain and potentially some thunder? That is the question. Once again, like I've been talking about, the threat, the thing that's not good for storms is the overall discreteness is definitely lower. Obviously, there is going to be a lot of cells that are discrete, but they're not going to be discrete for too long. They won't be discrete for too long, but they will still be discrete for some points. They will still be discrete. But these cells are about to merge. Hopefully they do merge. These are big, well, getting to be big cells. It might try to be trying. I'm not saying it is, because it does not look like rotation, really. Yeah, nothing significant is happening right now. These cells might try to be severe if it is a constructive cell merger. But then once again, you can look at the track lines. We have this kind of complex of storms going this direction, and then these storms that will collide with each other and merge, they're going generally this direction, which means later down the line they're probably going to merge into something later down the line. Later down the line, probably something like this later down the line when they emerge. Because that's just how Mother Nature works. Honestly, should have the SPC put the risk? Yes. Definitely hail. And also we have 3 SWSs over here. Yeah, definitely the risk was needed. Definitely some chances for those gusty winds, and definitely hail. There has yet to be proof that we actually needed a tornado threat. I still think that a tornado threat, personally, in my opinion, was the good call. But we haven't really seen anything try to develop. And that's, well, actually, we probably have seen things try, but they haven't gotten the chance, really, because they're all merging with each other. They're all merging. And even when they're not merging, they're all dying. They're all dying. So, they're not really getting the chance. But, I mean, if the environment was more discrete, and even for the discrete cell was more, like, had more energy and more fuel for the storms to keep going, then definitely we would see this already come through. So 3 SWSs, basically all of these are for the same reasons. This cell looks a bit more better. It looks like a potential for rotation I was looking at. It looks like it kind of let up a little bit. Makes complete sense, because the environment is not for tornadoes, but I still think that at least this one may have a chance as it goes north, but the more north it goes, the more I'll be less worried about it. Yeah, we get strong storms right here. If anything is going to become severe, it's going to be one of these 3 buddies. And that is that, but there's not a lot of things here. Okay, we're going to go back down over here. We have another TVS, but once again, it's just contamination. A tornado vortex signature. that's just contamination in itself. This is interesting. So this is a little bit of a weird shape. Let's see what this does. But once again, it's going to get that weird shape. But then, once again, it's going to collide into storms, or at least heavy parts of rain. If parts of rain slash storm, so they're just going to keep colliding. Now, obviously, the most discrete part is this part where storms will be discrete for the longest time. But they will eventually collide with each other. Not too far later. Sorry for the voice crack. Not too far later. Okay, we're gonna go back to these storms since these are really the only interesting storms because they have strong capabilities of doing something. These storms generally have winds that could be around. Actually, we could potentially This may deserve a severe thunderstorm warning for two reasons: why we're getting near 60 miles per hour, and also we just got a 60 decibel on the left side of your screen, which 60 decibels is the first indicator of either an extremely downpouring rain or hail. Since we're looking this far up in the atmosphere on the lowest tilt, this is probably a hail signature. So, but even if this is hail, it's mainly going to be half-sized hail. That's already in the special weather statement. But I would not be surprised if we do get an upgrade purely just for 60-mile-per-hour winds. I would be on board with that. Maybe, well, it depends if this does reach the surface. Now we are on the lowest. We are on the lowest tilt, and we're still far away from our radar site. So there's a good chance that 16 miles per hour is not reaching the surface. So 50 mile per hour is, and that's why we have the SWS. We're gonna go back down to here. Keep checking on these cells. Nothing. Now, they're not doing a lot. We're going to go to the second tilt, though. We're going to look a bit more up in the atmosphere just so you don't look at these, a second opinion, if you will, on these storms. And yeah, there is nothing going on with these storms. These are merging. And nothing's really happening with them. With these cells, we may, yeah. Tilt 1, we're going to go to tilt 1, and yeah, nothing's really happening. So the tornado threat is trying. It's definitely trying, but it's failing. There's a lot of reasons why it is failing. Because, one, overall discreteness is not really that much, and the mergers are, at least so far with all the mergers that I've seen, are not constructive. And it's a destructive for the storm. Even 4-hour discrete storms, they do tend to grow. But then they, after like 10 to 30 minutes or so, probably around 20 and 15, they just die out. But nothing, that's just it. They die out. in like 20 minutes time. So, you know, tornado threat is trying, but it's not being achieved, which means it's not going to be allowed. Tornado risk, I do think, was a good call by the Storm Prediction Center. They always make good calls because they are the professionals. Let me look it over here. But yeah, nothing's really coming together. We're going to go back to the strong storm here, and this storm was allowed to be expired, but that's weird. This is the strongest storm I'm seeing right now. That still has considerably 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts up in the atmosphere. Chance that it could, especially with that rain, it could reach, potentially could reach. That deserves at least a 50-mile-per-hour SWS. Over here, 50-mile-per-hour winds. Right? Yep. That's true. But I mean, that's so far away still, it's probably not reaching the surface. Probably on 45-mile-per-hour winds. That still deserves an SWS of 45 miles per hour, but definitely, probably not 50 miles per hour. Over here, we're definitely seeing 50 miles per hour. And that's just that. Going towards the generally going towards the Moab, Delta, Montrose, and Grand Junction area in Colorado. I do have a, wow, look at this development right here, y'all. Look at this development. So here's this cell right here. If you look on the left side of your screen, here's the cell at 124. Here's now. Here's now. Look how much that developed. That's moderate to heavy rain already. I don't see any rotation with it though, even though it does kind of have that weird shape. Still watching it though, but once again, it's going to be going into a rain merger. This is not really storminess. It could be storminess, but mostly rain. But then there's another storm to the east of it. I just realized for these storms, there's been not really any lightning signatures with these storms right here, which means that they're mostly rain dominant. So thunder probably is going off, but maybe not as much, and that does tell me something. But there will be merging. The cells are going to be merging. Rain cells, thunderstorm cells are merging, and so far the mergers that have been happening today have been destructive. So it's safe to say that this merger will be a destructive merger. Anything can happen though. If we do get any more development, honestly, it's going to have to be up here. And we're actually seeing it right now. With development over here. We're actually seeing that development with a cell over here. This is going to be this bird cell, this Leop cell. Look on the left side of your screen, this cell right here. This cell actually is going to be a bit more discreet, potentially. Well, actually, let me play a loop. That might be. Well, actually, it's probably going to merge with this cell near Tolani Lakes. Never mind. But we need something. We need something like a south cell that's going to be discreet for a while, and if it does interact with the right environment, then that would be our severe weather producer with a potential for a tornado. That would be that. But yet, those storms that were supposed to be happening are happening, but way more north, or they should be, honestly. So they're predicted to be, but they're not being as discreet. So good news, and the mergers once again are not favorable mergers. They're bad for the storm mergers. honestly, with the remaining discreteness and semi-discreteness of these cells, I would not be surprised if this mess is going to turn into that resembles or is a line of general thunderstorms, not severe weather. It's general thunderstorms, with maybe a gust of severe wind. That's what I'm starting to think, because we're already seeing it. We're seeing a little bit of that line, that linear part, almost happening, but not truly. Do you think that probably is going to be the start of it? Which means severe threat is going to be going down, at least for this area, potentially. Are back to 3. And that's one for the cell. This looks concerning. This looks really concerning right here. That's a little bit concerning. But the good news is, if you see this, if you look at on the right side of your screen, this purple line, that is the radar ring, basically, the velocity radar ring. So everything inside this purple line is a bit more realized and better to see. And since we're betterly seeing it, a little bit, it's still concerning. Still concerning for Norwood. We're still watching it for that one potential. So far, no mesoscale discussions have been noted. We're going to look back on RadarOmega. Quickly go here. Yeah, no discussions, no mesoscale discussions. And no watches have been issued. So, we don't really see anything happen. Then again, watches usually get issued for slight risks, I think, but sometimes for big marginal risks, which this one could be slight risks, or it could be watch, potentially. I don't know. But these storms are going. Personally, I think there actually is a chance, because we're seeing this rain and storminess kind of extend over here. I do think there's a chance that we could see more development over here in this middle one. And that could be our next shot for severe weather in this severe weather risk area. But I'm not seeing a whole lot. These are kind of turning linear. And these are not really linear. These are just clusters of storms turning into lines of just general thunderstorms. But mostly clusters. And these clusters of lines are just going to be going through. They should not be developing, though. They shouldn't. They're probably going to be more tame. More tame. Okay, I don't know why, but okay, it says a rotation signature when there actually is no contamination with it. This is not really a contaminated area, so the radar site is just confused, I guess. I don't know. No, wait, never mind. There is some contamination. It probably sees this green and red mixing. That's probably why. So there is some contamination that's saying, oh, there's some rotation going on. There is not. We're in a radar hole once again, so we can't see these really well. But it looks like we're probably going to see, if you look on the left side of your screen, more cellular development up here. This is mainly going to be producing, if there has to be severe weather, then it would be hail. Inch or less, probably on the lesser side, half inch or less. with some potential for heavy downpours are, of course, possible. I don't know if this is a severe weather threat. Okay, whoa. I thought that was a hook. I thought this was a hook, but no, it is just a cell merging with this one. This small cell merger, I don't know if it's going to do anything. We're actually now seeing some more hail with it. I think an SWS may be needed for this as it goes towards Tony Lake and east of Seba Dalkai in Arizona. SWS may be needed soon if trends continue. SWS is a strong thunderstorm or a special weather statement for a strong thunderstorm. Speaking of strong thunderstorms and SWS, as we have 3 over here, we're going to check it on them. This cell still exhibits maybe something, but not really as much. There's still potentially, after that, recorded 70 miles per hour gusts, which means that we actually could potentially be seeing near 60 miles per hour at the surface with this. So Norwood may be a severe thunderstorm warning. But probably thunderstorm warning with this half-inch sized hail and 60 mile per hour damaging winds. I would be okay with the tornado possible. Actually, no. Looking at trends, no, I wouldn't. I'd be a little bit surprised if there actually was a tornado possible now, if looking at recent trends. But not too surprised, of course. What we can look at actually is if we go over here, go to RadarOmega, go to our satellites. We're not going to go to the Atlantic Basin. We're going to go to the continental United States. We'll go to our geocolor, and we can actually see satellite. We are very close to our low pressure system. You can almost see the cold front. There still is some clearing spots, so there still is some threat. That's what at least I can suspect or depict out of this. Wow, look at that. That's cool. Anyways. Shoot. Back to radar. Right here. Eastern Daylight Time is my time. So if there's nothing by, it's 1:45 p.m. for me. If there's nothing by 2 p.m., then if I'm not seeing anything really concerning about 2 p.m., then I'm just going to call it. Because personally, I don't think this severe weather threat is going to verify for this. Well, we can look at models, actually. We can look at models. What are models saying? Specifically the HRRR. 16Z did show development. But what are we seeing more? So the HRRR still showing development on the southern side of the threat, but it is showing more of that these storms will still be some isolated, but it will still be a line, look, linear mode, a line of storms. That's interesting. So generally soon, these all should just form into one linear thing. Which that maybe, yeah, I can see that happening actually. Okay, this definitely needs an SWS. I don't know why there isn't. That's definitely developing. Here's a cell just south of Cape Camp Verde. This is gonna be a bit more discreet it's gonna be discreet for a while actually. To at least 2:10 between 2:10 and 2:25 p.m. when overall discreetness will be, so it actually has a pretty good time to be discreet, but once again it's going to be get eaten up by this cluster of storms. And if this cluster of storms is actually trying to do something, it's going to be stopped by the cell. So if I was the SPC right now, honestly, I would maybe start thinking about getting rid of the tornado risk, because if something were to happen when they become a line, then I don't know. But I think that tornado risk, if I can talk, the tornado risk is going maybe just a hair down because everything is kind of forming together, which was predicted by the HRRR. Form together and keep going. There'll be development out in front of it, but then we'll be at a time where this severe threat over here starts, and everything happens again, and we're all happy. That's today's game plan. Maybe something interesting could happen over here, just north of 17, northeast of Big Park and southeast of Sedona, Arizona. But it's about to go through another merger. Unless they became one cell, then that'd be a problem. We should look in tilts again. To get a radar, my second opinion, a bit more up in the atmosphere. How everything's going. Storm is getting a little bit more supercellular. It just depends on how long this will live and how long it stays discreet. If it stays discreet and lives longer, then this will be our next shot for severe weather. And if it stays discreet but dies out like these discrete cells have been doing, then that should be it for the rest of the day. Once again, we're going back up here. But yeah, nothing else is really showing up for me. Nothing really is catching my eye, if you will. Nothing's really nothing catching my eye. At least radar-wise, nothing really is interesting. This is turning into we do actually have an SWS over here. We do have a special weather statement over here. We're actually going to go to tilt 1 because it's closer to the radar. Tilt 1. Sorry, velocity. Doing SWS for 50 mile per hour winds. Okay. That is for globe. So a strong thunderstorm over there. This rotation signature, I don't think, yeah, it's a little bit interesting. Knowing the structure of this storm, a little bit interesting. I'm actually gonna kind of start watching this. It's not rotating right now, but it could be in the very early stages. And if it is, and that is gonna be one of those good calls or relevant calls by the rotating signature. Watching that one. And generally, if wherever that rotating part is, it's not really going to be going into any kind of mergers. It's just be going into a wall of rain that can just occlude it. Could occlude it. Okay. Okay. I don't know. It looks a little bit fishy, but it does look like that this cell should have its hook somewhere over here, unless it's a merger. Looking at. Okay, it is a merger. So this actually might be relevant because this would be where a hook echo would be, but it is in the process of merging, so we could have our next potential tornado. Could be happening. Could be happening. But once again, it's about to undergo a merger. Just at the last second merger. So there is something trying to be in progress. Everything, if this is rotation, which it actually might be since there is a merger going on, then we could have potentially trying a tornado. And if it is trying a tornado, where would it go? So that is what one of the questions are. We're gonna answer that for you. Where would it go? We're gonna see. Okay, that did not work. One second, y'all. Making sure. Okay, where would it go? Just north of 17. I'm actually going to go on a RadarOmega. Okay, sorry about that. Where is this? So yes, this would be going just north of Stoneman Lake and into all these hills like Rob Top Hill, the Butte, Fane Mountain, and Gash Mountain, Mount Nestor, then potentially towards Pilgrim Playground and Tempe Cappy. Then Lakeview as it continues on its track. This is mainly if this is legitimate right here. That's where it would be going. Towards 209. So once again, if this is legitimate rotation, The potential track is just going to be north. We have a new radar scan coming in, so we're about to see if this is actually legitimate or not. It looks like the merger is happening right now as we speak, so it might just be falling apart right now. Right now. If velocities update, it may be a hook. I'm not gonna lie to you, it might be a hook. But we need velocities to update now. Yeah, now. So we can see what is up with the weather. There we go, it updated. Let's go. And I mean, yeah, honestly, yeah, that could actually be trying. Yeah, might be. Okay, let me. Northeast, just literally about across the 17. Across 17, so it should be somewhere right here. This will be going into Luke Mountain, Lee Butte, Rock Top, crossing Highway 17, Rock Top, going to Mountain Nestor, FR 91, FR 226, potentially for Lakeview in Mormon Lake on Mormon Lake Road and Lake Mary Road later on as it tracks. That is for this potential. Nothing else is really catching my eye right now. I know there's 2 SWSs going on, but we potentially have something trying to be in progress. Trying or already is in somewhat progress right here. That is where a hook would generally be with the storm. Once again, literally about to cross the curvature in Arizona of Highway 17. A bit more in depth of where it is going. And you can honestly, I'm on MMRS. You can also see that hook forming once again just north of Red Hill, crossing Highway 17 into Luke Mountain, Lee Butte, Rock Top, FR 91, Fair Mountain, Mount Nestor, Milos Butte, 209, 3, FR 91, potentially glazing or just going over Lakeview in Mormon Lake Road, and potentially Pilgrim Playground for this specific cell. There is no tornado warning, but if there is something trying to do something, I do want you guys to be prepared. I wish that we had a cell signature right here so I can go a bit more in depth on where it's going. But it's generally going northeast, south of Flagstaff. It's going to be going southeast of Flagstaff, if that makes anything better. It's going to be going in between this area. It's going to be going somewhere in here. If this makes any sense to you, it's north of the airport radar. I've said all the mountains. You can go back in time on the thing. Once again, Rock Top, Sakes Mountain, Lakeview, Pilgrim Playground, FR 91, crossing Highway 17 is this potential strong storm that could try to be producing a tornado. Potentially. It's always good to say these things. Now then we have this cell. We potentially have another cell trying to do the same thing to south of Camp Verde. Also going northeast, get across 260. Also go to the south of Lake Monsignor for that just general storm. Back up to here. We do need a radar update. I would like a radar update, a 2 p.m. radar update for this and where it is. I would really like an update for that radar. So we did get an update. And it might be gone. Good news is that it might be gone. That's the potential good news here. And no, it's not. So it did broaden out, but it's probably over. But there could still be something potentially going on. Definitely very broad. But it has crossed. It would be crossing. It has either crossed already. 17, potentially, if it was on the ground, it had dissipated. So cross 17. It's more than likely going to be going over FR226 between T6 Point and Mount Nestor. Between T6 Point and Rock Top Mountain sites. And we'll cross FR226 in Mount Nestor and Mills, but it should miss Lakeview and Mormon Lake, but it may go over Dairy Springs Cabins and potentially Pilgrim Playground. It's more than likely off the ground right now. It's more than likely off the ground. If there actually was anything on the ground, we're actually going to go to correlation and coefficient to see if there actually was anything. Because there might have been something quick and brief, but I doubt it. I don't know. I don't think there actually was anything on the ground. I really doubt it, though. Maybe. I doubt it. Still. But yeah, it's good to do things like this. It's really good to do things like this to just get the word out. But after one more radar scan, and if nothing is really imminent, then I'm just going to go, because it probably was the only scare that we'll probably see today. Knock on wood, of course. Always knock on wood. Supercell over here doing things, not really concerning at all. Yeah, it's merging. It's dying out. So yeah, this is not concerning due to it dying out. Phew. Woo. Yeah, this should be it. I think this is actually it. So this should be it. I don't know how long we've been live, but we've been covering severe weather for this little while. And we still have a whole day of another potential tornado threat today over here, and almost a severe weather again today. and tomorrow. So it's definitely not over. We're gonna wait for a new radar scan because I need one. And I want to see if we're good. Any day now. So that update, so we're about to get a velocity update very soon. So new radar update shows nothing is really new. Bird Springs looks a bit more interesting, but I'm not gonna really stress about it though. Yeah, it does look a bit more interesting. I'm not gonna lie. But I need a new radar scan, if you know what I mean. I need a new radar scan. But I do one badly. Please. Please, Mr. Radar. I need to make sure nobody is in trouble. Nobody in trouble. And yeah, that's done. Okay, so that's really it for today. At least for this area. Severe weather is probably done. There may be more development to the south over here, just south of Flagstaff and Winslow, near Payson, Arizona, for potentially some hail, maybe spin up, but mostly hail and maybe a damaging wind gust. This area is the threat for today and tomorrow. Once again, see that on RadarOmega. Today and tomorrow for the same threats of tornadoes and whatnot. Also, I will say before I go, it is 2 p.m., which means we did probably get a Hurricane Center update. So we'll give a quick hurricane update once again. We could see more development later with this thing, potentially. Probably will see some more rain, maybe, probably more storms. Doubt them having any severe, I don't really doubt it, but I do think that severe threat is slowly going away. But when they do form into that linear mode sometime, it might get more severe over here. So, wait and see thing. But I do think that, at least for this area, severe weather is probably in at least a lull right now. Maybe not completely gone, but at least in a little bit of a lull. So that's good news. And so yeah, we're going to give a final... We're going to give a tropical update. We will give a tropical update. Because we do that. We have Invest. Okay, so that's... Okay, so Invest 94L has increased. We went from a 10% in 48 hours for tropical development and a 10% in 7 days. But now we're back up to 20. So chances have increased for this. We still may see something. And we now have a high risk for Invest 95L. We have a high risk, which means we have a 70% chance of development in 48 hours and in 7 days. And we still have a 50% chance development over here. So that's all she wrote for this. We will go, that's really it. Oh yeah. Since Invest is right there, we're probably going to be going, not probably, but I will be looking into the Puerto Rico radar, because I do that. So where is this sucker? It's in between. Okay, So its invest is right here. So we got some storms happening over here. Some general storms, nothing much with them. And that's really all. All right. See you guys in the next one, whenever that will be. Not gonna be later today. Will be tomorrow though. If the threat does happen, it will be tomorrow, but not later today. I'm busy. But yeah, that is that. We still have a tropical wave over here. I'm wondering how that's gonna be doing.